Welcome back to Point Shot. My guest today is Hollywood Monk Wagner. Everybody knows that man. How you doing, Monk?
Pretty good as I can be. Virus free, a little bored, slightly depressed, but getting by, same as everybody else.
Yeah, that probably sums up most of the people that watch these little webisodes. Slightly bored, maybe a little depressed. It's tough
We're
times.
still on our honeymoon yet. I don't know how long this can last. It's all good.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's really tough. How's your life in this quarantine? Are you essential? Are you working?
No, I'm non-essential. Having a job that I assemble display cabinets, I have to consider it non-essential, but uh, doing a lot of cleaning around the house, very small yard, trim some trees, have an occasional fire. Uh, Thank God the beer distributors are still open, or I'd probably have no hair left on my head right now. So, other than that, fishing season is open, much to the dismay of some people, but I can get out and fish a little bit. Might not really catch anything, but this feels good being outside. And
Yeah.
you know,
Well, that's why I always used to tell my kids, that's why they call it fishing, not catching. You got to work it.
yes, it's all about being out there. I mean, same as hunting. If you enjoy being out in the outdoors, hearing the flow of the creek, the wind through the trees, that's very therapeutic right there. Catching something is a bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also these days and times, if you're not catch and release, you can take it home and you got a meal that you didn't have to fight people in the grocery store to get.
That's true.
Yeah, I like how you been catching so far. Have you made any headway out there in the creeks? You reeling them in?
On opening day, I caught 3 trout out here in Five Pointville, across the creek across from the Mennonite Mall. But other than that, it's been very slow. It's trout are probably more or less fished out by now, but as the water warms up, that's when the bass action heats up. So May's my favorite time to fish during the year anyway. The leftover trout, bass starting to get hot. It's action.
Yeah, that sounds good. You're making me want to get out there and do some fishing. I didn't get the license this year. I've been stuck in here, but maybe people do them online. They letting people do that online now.
I'm not sure about that. In fact, some places that normally sell licenses are not, as in Walmart.
Huh.
Walmart actually has that section closed off for the sporting goods, which is possibly why Weaver Store has advertised on their sign fishing lures. That's where I get my worms too when I use them. So I have a mask. I'm kind of fit to go out in public. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I know. We all got to fight our way through for what we need. Well, let's get out of the quarantine nonsense and talk some quoits. You're one of the best known. What's that?
Always into that. You know that, brother.
Oh, hell yeah, man. You're one of my favorite people out there. Everyone knows Hollywood Monk Wagner when he's out there styling and profiling. How long have you been styling and profiling? You've been throwing quoits since when?
Actually, when we were growing up, I mean, it's going back to the 70s, a long time ago, but little family gatherings like here in Musser Hill, quoits would be thrown, and it was pretty much where the men would be outside throwing quoits and the women are in the house doing whatever the women do. It's none of my business because I'm outside. But in them days, being under, say, 18, you're still a kid, and the only time you got a chance to actually throw was in between them games when them guys would be shooting a breeze or getting another beer. They didn't really let us participate, but in the mid 1980s, let's go back to circa 1986, I am in the Navy. my brother is in the Navy, and he has a little rancher down in Ocean View, Virginia, which is just a couple miles outside the naval base. You know, he purchased the house in acre, but guess what? He put in quoit pits, laid in the boxes, and on my one trip home to Pennsylvania, on my Harley, I had to take him 2 sets of quoits down. They were 4-pounders, so like, wow, I got 32 pounds worth of metal here in the tour pack in the back. Actually, they were 5-pounders now, I remember. So I got 40 pounds. Well, I'm only allowed to hold 32, but it didn't really matter. Nobody down there knew the game. That's when I started throwing, learned a little from him. And it was basically some of his Navy buddies from the base who had never even heard of the game in their life began to throw with us. And so we could have as many as, say, 8 people. We had enough for teams. And my brother ended up getting a belt made for a singles champ and, of course, tag team. Oh, yeah, wrestling was too much of an influence in our life back then. And we're down in NWA territory in those days. So, and we didn't play for money, but the only stipulation was if you lost, you had to fill the winners up with beer in the pitcher. And if it was low, you went in the house, and my brother had a keg of Budweiser, and that's where it flowed from. It's not about money. It was just about having fun. It's what it was all about. Never in them days dreamed I would ever throw in a tournament anywhere.
Sure. Yeah.
Great things. I mean, it's.
Yeah. Well, and you, so you cut your teeth down there in Virginia throwing 5-pounders. You get out of the service, and thank you for your, thank you for keeping our country safe. Appreciate that.
Welcome.
So you come home. I know, like you just mentioned before, Musser Hill. I think you spent some time in Shennick throwing with them boys. I know you throw at Moton. What's your normal weekly throwing routine like now? How often are you playing? And not during the quarantine, but in a normal year.
In a normal year, it's Sunday here on Musser Hill down the street at a cousin's house, where I mentioned throwing's been going on. I have no idea how long, since at least the 70s. And then on a Tuesday night, throwing Moton. Occasionally, you get guys that, they say, hey, let's throw quoits on a Friday night, come over to my house, and yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, so that's fun.
That's pretty much it. I mean, realistically, talk to a lot of the people we throw with. Twice a week's pretty much as anybody throws, unless you have a very understanding wife and she lets you come up to Fritz Island on a Thursday night and make it 3 days a week. Now we're really starting to get into this, aren't we?
Yeah, you could throw every night. It seems a lot of groups throw on Tuesdays. I always see you on Tuesday. I've been throwing at that Moton throw on Tuesday nights that Lee Angstead puts on. What's the name of his gun club? Buck Hollow? Was that?
Buck Fever is the Sunday camp name. It's actually, for anybody who wants to know, on Route 87, right outside of Forksville, a couple miles. You'll go by and see the sign out front, Buck Fever. I know right where it's at.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Sullivan County. I spent some time up there. Caught my first fish under the Forksville Bridge.
Wow, did not know that.
Yeah. We had some extended family up there. I'll tell you some stories someday off the air. High Knob Inn and all that fun stuff, The
High Knob. That's where the tourists go.
Yeah. Well, that's where Switcher and Nevin go when they're up there. Speaking of Moton guys.
Forksville is where all the locals go to bitch about all the Flatlanders coming up. My cousin lives up there, and he told me that, so it's got to be a fact.
Yeah, it must be true. That's all right. They're all good people up there. There's a lot of deer, a lot of fish. Beautiful country. Yep. So Tuesday nights there. So let's start with Tuesday, and then we'll work out the Sunday at Musser Hill. So Tuesday nights is fun at Moton. We haven't really talked about that on this Webisode thing yet. Let everyone know how Tuesday nights work at Moton, because that's open to anybody and it's a lot of fun.
Usually we have, well, anywhere from 12 to 20 people, depending who shows up. You never know. Guys like you and I, Badass Billy Cole and Billy Cole III, Hitman Sammy, all regulars up there. Or I also forgot the Moton Mauler, Nevin Moore.
Can't
So
forget
pretty
the
much
Mauler.
every Tuesday, we're regulars. You want to throw against us or throw with us, we are pretty much there. Lee Angstad's usually there. He's run the program for, I believe, over 20 years. And the thing I like about him is he busts on me more than anybody. I love it. I go up to Shennick, it's Bob and Bud busting on me when the opportunity arises.
My second favorite moment from Moton last year was the night you and Lee hooked up and you were the best buddies. There was a lot
I
of
didn't know how
talking.
to handle that because we always acted like we didn't like each other. It's like, damn, now I got to actually root for this guy. And yeah, somehow it was written on the scoreboard. I think we won that week, if not second, and we were best buddies the rest of the year. He even bought me a beer a couple times.
Yeah, I love Lee. He's a good shooter too, for only playing once a week part-time throughout the year. He throws, he's crazy tight to that pin, and you put one on, he's like to cover you up.
He doesn't like throwing in the bigger tournaments, which is a shame because he could do very well in them given just a half-decent partner.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys like that. They love the game like as much as we do. They just like throwing with their buddies where they normally throw during the week and not really test their mettle out throwing in a tournament because they think the pressure you put on yourself in a tournament takes the fun out of it. My opinion is, no, I want to throw in these tournaments, and there's a lot of days where I leave disappointed, but either way, I really miss it now where I'm together with all my quoiting buddies. I get there early before we throw, and you go around from canopy to canopy, and I know everybody.
Yeah.
Get to talk with them, congratulate people that won the last tournament you were at. We're like a traveling show. It's pretty much a lot of the same people. Depending where you throw, you might get a couple locals like Danville that will get in. Wish you were more of them guys that threw out there.
Yeah.
But it's just the way it is. Some people aren't into. I'm into the competition. I really am. There's a team better than me, and they're gonna whoop my butt. Hey, do it. I ain't gonna complain about it.
No, that's it. You just shake hands and walk away at that point. But the way I like to explain it to people who've never been to one of the big tournaments is that it's like tailgating, except you're in the game too, because you're sitting around some, but you're also playing, and you to see some of these guys play. They play at such a high level. We had you at the World Championships last year. You were on fire. You were covering people all over the place. Scott Yutz was talking about you just last week about how you were hitting them. And I think Keeb was just as hot for their team, which is how you got knocked out. But
he was hotter.
You were pretty hot, man. I seen you all day lighting people up. That was a good run you and Sean had.
Yeah, fell a little short. That was probably our best chance ever to win one. But, the Outlaw, he had a very bad year. He did not top a single ringer in USQA all year. You would never bet on that. Sean, I bet you $20 you don't top a ringer. That'd be the dumbest bet you could ever make.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He adjusted his throw a little and says that, over the winter throwing with you guys and says he's got it now. So we'll be back again for the World. I mean, heck, with all this stimulus money my brother Trump's throwing me, I can afford to throw in all the tournaments. We just need to have them.
Woo! I like that. That sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, brother, if you throw with me, whether it be at Moton or in a tournament, I am like a stimulus for your quoit throwing soul, brother. I will be hot this year. I guarantee it.
I love it, man. I love it. I love watching you play. I learn a lot from watching you play. I know
How to make an ass out of yourself. That's
well,
about
no,
it.
one thing I know that you do is if someone like Billy Cole has that quoit stacked up in front, you'll burn a quoit to knock him out of the way or open it up just so you can stick the next one in back where it was. You're really a very tactical player. It's an underrated part of your game.
Thank you. You also, in that case of Billy Cole, he might hog up the front. How about putting one at the left side of the pin? I'm touching, he's touching. Well, I don't know, what are you going to do about it? It's a nix, and a nix is still better than letting the other team score. It's not always how much you score, but I don't care what game it is. If you don't let the other team score, you're not going to win.
Yeah, well, and when you're tightened up like that, if it's a push right then and you each got 2 quoits left, you might be able to dislodge him. Even if you pull him off a 30-second and you're still touching, you could steal that point. It's still possible.
Yes, you can.
Yep, I've seen you do it. Well, listen, we're burning through time here. I got to get going. I got one question I've been asking everybody, and so I'll throw it at you, and I'll give you the list if you want it. But you got one celebrity, living or dead, that you can have. You bring the quoit tournament. He's your partner for the day. He or she, whoever you want. Now, I've asked this question 10 times, so I already got 10 people. If you want, I'll give you the list in case you weren't following along.
Okay.
All right. So these guys are taken. Drew Brees, your brother, Uncle Donald Trump, The Rock, Christopher Walken, Sandra Bullock, Rodney Dangerfield, Robert Plant, Willie Wondrous. I'm not sure how he qualifies as a celebrity, but he's been taken. Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan. That's not a bad list of people to be at a quoit tournament with.
I would have to pick Muhammad Ali because he's the greatest.
But he's taken. You got to go somewhere else. That was that was Dirty Kurt took Muhammad Ali.
Well, maybe I'd take Rodney Dangerfield.
He's taken already too. You got to pick someone who wasn't taken yet. Someone I didn't mention.
Well, I didn't see the list.
Well, that's what I was just saying. I was just ripping it off for you. All those names I just mentioned are the ones that are taken.
Actually, I'd probably just pick Jesus because he's perfect and we'd win every game.
All right. You got it. You got the Messiah. We got Monk and the Messiah. That would be a tough team. Although maybe the Messiah should get top billing there. I'm not sure.
I'm always second billing. I'm the helper here. I'm not the leading actor. I'm in a supporting role. I was you kicking the other guys behind.
Hey, well, if we get one of them tournaments where it's super, where it's raining and the pits are all wet, your partner just walk right across in puddles, you'll have no trouble. I think you made a good pick. Yeah. Well, I can't beat Jesus as a partner. I think you're in good shape for this tournament, man. Monk, I appreciate your time, brother. You got any one final statement for the quoiters out there until we see them again in real life?
Like I posted on Facebook a couple weeks ago, I really miss all you guys. I haven't seen some people since last fall. And if there's really one thing I miss other than working and the freedom to do normal things, I miss the simple act of shaking somebody's hand or giving them a hug.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really miss. I look forward to that day again. I really do. We just got to do what we got to do. It'll be coming up soon.
It will be. That's wise words, Monk. I agree, and I appreciate your time. I'm going to sign this off right now. Peace out, brother. Sometimes you got to take the point. Woo!
Woo!
Later, man.
All right. Take care, brother.